to give you overview about what's meditation. Anyway, here, how many of you practice some form of meditation? Okay, okay, right. How many of you know more about meditation? Okay, so how many of you don't know anything about meditation? Okay, so most you know something about meditation, right? It's just all kind of form of meditation, Eastern and the Western and so forth. Let me show you short clips to give you overview about what's meditation and how it changed your life. It's not healing, it's changed your life because it will change your brain as well as change your mentality. And then some of my students in my class, they watch, but I think it's very interesting.
Evidence that is simple but very powerful, a tool for achieving what you want in life. There is a new report finding 40% of us now are turning to alternative treatments, especially meditation. And Dan Harris asked the questions about the growing proof that that works.
Meditation, once considered supremely flaky, is now being used by the Marines, by corporate executives from General Mills to Target to Google, by students in classrooms all over America, and now, according to this new study, by roughly 3 million patients on the recommendation of their doctors.
We weren't expecting to see such a high rate of referrals. That was really surprising to us.
Dr. Rex Hoffman recommended meditation to his patient, Danilo Ramirez, who had stage 2 lymphoma and was too claustrophobic to endure the treatments, which required wearing this large radiation mask. It worked.
It was beautiful that my mind was able to control my heartbeat, my breathing, my relaxation. I see us using it more with our patients.
The awareness of the breath.
Researchers say meditation doesn't just relax you, it can physically change your brain. Earlier this year, a Harvard study looked at people who took a mere 8-week course in meditation and found that these two parts of their brains associated with self-awareness and compassion actually grew, while this part associated with stress shrank. There are lots of different kinds of meditation, but the kind most doctors recommend does not involve wearing robes, chanting, lighting incense, or joining a religious group. What it does involve is 3 very basic steps. Step number 1, sit comfortably. Step number 2, focus on your breath. Feel it going in and out. Step number 3, when your mind wanders, which it will a million times, to things like, did I feed the dog? Where are my keys? And what am I having for dinner? Every time your mind wanders, just gently return to your breath. I've interviewed corporate executives who say meditation has made them more focused and effective. And one rock star who says it cured his stage fright.
If I wasn't meditating, if I still had so much stage fright, I might still be in my shell.
That's a pretty big change. So those people who had the good part of their brain plumped up, how long did they meditate a day?
Just 30 minutes a day. And there's some indication that if you do less, it will still work. And there's also all sorts of fascinating studies that show that meditation can reduce your blood pressure, boost your immune system, and even make you nicer.
Nicer.
My wife is encouraging me to try that.
Yeah, and you look wonderful tonight.
Anyway, so I just want to give you a short video clips, general idea, especially the benefit of meditations. Remember, meditation is for everyone, not for Buddhists, but everyone. As much as you know, you can utilize this in your life beneficially. All right, so let me go over again. I hope that this presentation will be helpful for you, especially toward the end of the semester. All right, so you can use some form of mindfulness practice to handle your stress, anxiety, what we call task stress, right? In my class, we call all this task stress. How can you handle that? All right. So, okay. So here you've seen all kind of picture image of mindfulness. But what is mean by mindfulness then? And of course, some of my students in my Buddhist class I went over before. So here, meditation is kind of root. The meditation it's been to measure your state of mind, to measure your health, and so forth. How mindfulness works is through moment-to-moment, non-judgmental, affectionate curiosity, and you look within, not look without. This brings positive change to your action, to your realization inside, and so forth. Right? And the mindfulness practice can bring you to have more attention, more focus, and so forth. Okay. Now here, we'll be here most of the time. We let our mind front back and forth between the past and the future, but we're not here. That's why we lost present moment here. Mindless response. Whenever you deal with situation, if you judge people based upon opinion and so forth, that's why where stress comes from. But when you know how to apply mindfulness practice with non-judgment, accept and so forth, you might be more peaceful. Now here, our mind is like computer. Look at here. Right now I use my Apple, but before, if I use PC, and somehow you know, right? You guys still have to use PC here, right? And sometimes you need to do what's called fragmentation, right? So there's the mind. See that? You see the mind when we confuse. This is like we download all kind of junk into my computer, and that's when we do meditation. That's when we sort out our computer mind here. See in here and so forth. All right, now historical background of mindfulness practice. Yes, especially in Buddhist traditions, this is about 2,600 years ago. We started with the Buddha, the one who initiated this kind of practice, and he provided what they call the Four Noble Truths. The truth of suffering, the cause of suffering, the end of suffering, and the path to end of suffering. The truth of suffering, we have physical and mental suffering. Like they say, why we have the stress and so forth, that's some form of mental suffering. And he provides what we call the path to encounter or to transform that type of suffering through what we call the Eightfold Path. And that's what we for right mindfulness and concentration. Right mindfulness means samatha. You really focus on one thing at a time. One thing, but vipassana just means whichever you go, you recognize in a mindful way. And here is samatha, it means concentration. Vipassana means mindfulness. And here is our mind, our normal mind. It's in beta state. And the more you focus up to here, and you go down to delta, it's single-minded. Right now, you know, especially during this school year, you worry too much, right? For your work, for your test, for your paper, and so forth. It's like, is it like this state of mind? Go back here. It's the mind right here. It's not easy for you to calm the mind here. This is the fluctuation of our mentality, of our emotion. That's why when you practice samatha, it means concentration, and vipassana will be helpful for you to cool out the mind. Right here, again, mindfulness is here and now. Awareness, you recognize the body sensation, perception, and so forth. And it's many type of meditation. Last semester we have mindfulness class, and I took my student to the cafeteria in the student center. We observed the students how they eat, and what happened? Actually 99% of the students that we observed, what happened while they were eating, they talking, and most of you too, right? It's not easy for you to focus on the eating only. That's why you get lost sometimes. You get lost of the taste of the food. And the mindfulness practice, again, we will show you later on, is to do one thing at a time. All right, practice of mindfulness. Here the event, right? Let's say someone say something, right? And it may invoke and trigger your thought and your feeling. After that, you have some kind of reaction. If they praise you, or you're so beautiful, you have good feeling, right? And you smile, and vice versa, right? So now here the autopilot to behavior, we have stimulus. Let's say when you eat the food, right? You can just put inside your mouth, and that's all. You don't pay attention much. Or sometimes if someone criticizes you, right? Let's say if your professor say, "Oh wow, you need to finish your work and so forth," and if you don't have the pose, if you don't think, you may respond right away. Why you criticize me? I send my homework already and so forth. Or even after he get back the paper to you, when you just saw the grade, and you complain on the spot, but you don't know what content, why he gave you that type of grade. So mindfulness practice helps you to pause for a while to see what's happening there. Like here, this stress, okay, so when let's say when you get the bad grade, right? You don't want to pay attention on that. You make judgment, and you try to make the judgment and ask why the professor gave me that kind of grade and so forth. You complain and you stress out. But for mindful response, you turn toward difficulties. Yes, I recognize I have a bad grade. I accept that, let go, and do more. I do more homework. I will study more. It's much better. And the same thing. Like, let's say when you fall down, right, physically, it's so painful. If you're mindful, you not complain too much. And it's less stress, anxiety, and so forth. That's how we bring the greater sense of well-being. And here, when you stress too much, look how you breathe in and out. When you're so stressful, and so when you're so anxious about things. Let's say when you walk into the room that the teacher or the professor give you the test, you're so anxious, right? And what happens with your breath? You may have short breath and so forth. But if you go to the room to take a test and now you take a deep breath and follow your breath and you be mindful with the test and so forth, it will be more pleasant for you instead of having so much stress when you deal with the test. So probably this is the preparation for you taking the final. How many of you are taking multiple choice test soon? Be careful, right? Right. So in the class I talk about that too. When you circle the right answer, but somehow you have so much calculation, so much things in your mind, you erase and circle the wrong one. So be careful. Trust your instinct, plus knowledge too. Now here, breathing, pardon. This is one. If you have short breath, it is 30 breath per minute. That is related to your health and mind too. And this is when you're severely sick, and when you're sick at 18, and the normal is 12. And the ideal one is 3 per minute. It's not easy, but you don't press yourself to keep your breath for 3 per minute. Don't do that. Just breathe in now naturally, and eventually your breath will be slowed down. Here, trigger event like when you get back a test, right? You judge based on past experience. You complain, oh wow, I did pretty good, but I don't know why he gave me this kind of bad grade and so forth. You're angry, and you may go to his office and complain, right? But when you're mindful with the test that you got back, right? You're aware of the unhelpful thought, and you can see clearly. Just sit down and calm your mind. Remember that when you were young, your mom would say, cool down. Remember? Take a minute and so forth. That is what we call mindful practice there. That we were taught by our parents when we were young. Right here. Now, in mindful practice, especially breath meditation, yes, most of the time we have the one in mind. And we recognize the turn, go back to focus. Especially if you just sit for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, yes, most of the time, the mind run around, what we call in Zen tradition, monkey mind, right? Jump here and there. That's why we need to bring it back again and again. It's some kind of skill for you to tame the mind. Yeah, because we have so much stimulus, external stimulus outside there, the food, the pictures, image, internet, and so forth. So that's the attention circle. Now here, if you can follow the breath, and if you get distracted, you try to do real awareness, you get back to the calmness, concentration, and eventually the effortless cycle of meditation. This has become part of your life. When you drive the car, you feel your breath come in and out of your body, and you can recognize how you handle the wheel and how you press the gas pedals or the brake and so forth. It will come naturally when you are mindful. Now, there's many researches nowadays about mindful practice that's done by scholars and so forth, professors and so forth. You see it. I just list out for you to see. And the NIH, I think National Institution of Healthcare and so forth, they provide the fund for the scholar, professor to do some type of research on mindfulness practice, how this brings the benefit to people. And the mindfulness-based stress reduction alone offer at 700 medical centers. They have been doing the research for more than 30 years, and it's still 700 interesting amount of studies in the 2003 and other clinical trial and so forth, public articles and so forth. Now, to come back to the benefit of mindfulness, you know, here, the brain relates to the mind. When you change the brain, it can change your state of mind. As you know, sometimes, let's say, if you fall down, somehow something happened to your brain, it may affect you how you see, how you feel the life too. And vice versa, the mind can change the brain with scientific proof. What you do with your mind, it will influence your brain. And especially if you really focus your attention, it will affect your emotion, your language, and your autonomous nervous system. Here, the brain here, we have the left brain, is more rational, analytical, logical, and meditation helps us to shift the left brain to the right, abstract, holistic, intuitive. And here, the benefit when you do meditation, reduce the stress, 89%. Clarity of the mind, 91, and 79 energy levels, connect with others. So these are proven by the research, not by the number, but they have done so many research. And here, long-term meditation, and this is just going to bring the distinctions in numerous areas of the brain. It can increase, it helps you to sharpen your attention, perception, emotional regulation, autonomic function. Because it changes your brain, it will change your state of mind. Here they have done some kind of research about the brain. We have what we call beta, alpha, theta, and delta, who are in psychology major here. You guys know about this? How about in healthcare? No? So you guys know about this state of mind, right? So delta, this is active thought, or problem solving, communication. Alpha, relaxed, alertness. Here playing sport, listen music. Theta, radio, subconsciousness, and delta, unconsciousness. When you do meditation, and it will change your brain. It will reduce the activity of your delta and increase the relaxation, awareness, and reduce subconsciousness. That they have done is all kind of researches. And here, for the physical benefits, it will reduce heart pain, reduce level of diabetes, and so forth. For psychological benefits, it's enhanced self-esteem, especially self-realization, self-realization. I just told you that if you're mindful, you need to organize your times, how to handle your tests. Like if you have 4 or 5 classes for this semester, you need to organize. You need to be mindful what you learned. Right? If you jump here and there, right, and you would not get a good grade, you could catch up with whichever materials the professor provides to you. Psychological benefit, it will reduce unhealthy behavior, stress, anxiety, depression, and it helps you. It helps you to deal with other people, especially with your boyfriends, girlfriends in the school. At work too. All right. Now, mindfulness in the news is everywhere. BBC, and you just saw that news, right? They have CBS 60 Minutes interview and so forth. Even they have the articles, they mention about the mindfulness too. And now it become a mainstream. And they estimate us about 30 million people do meditation in this country. And here, this is all kind of people in all kind of profession. Now, in healthcare, now you see that stress is number 1 anxious country in the world, and it's cost about $3 billion because of stress. And now, mindfulness is number 1 clinical tools for stress, depression, anxiety, and so forth. And it increased more than 1,000%. Is to see how they have done this type of research throughout the year. And physical health from 1982 up to 2007, they just have that discharge, reduce the level of cortisol and so forth. And for the mental illness, mental health from 1992, they have done this research and throughout the years, and up to now, they recognize abuse, anxiety, stress, and so forth. And here, mindful practice and multitude effect of cognitive function, cultivate positive attitude to perceive stress, facilitate substance attention, and so forth. So this they have done, they have proven this kind of benefit. And here, if you are going to medical school, anyone of you? No? Or even, you guys who are in psychology major, you guys want to be a psychologist? Or this may be stressful too?
Yes.
Right. Are you a student? Are you a professor?
I'm a student.
Are you a student? Okay. Now, you know, it's a lot burned out for doctors, for nurses. And if you don't know how to handle their life, it's not easy for them to have the patience. And remember, you have learned some story, right? You heard some story that the nurses gave the wrong medicine to the patient, right? Please, before you can sit down, please you can sit. And before you leave, please remember to sign your name here, so I can give you credit. Yeah, that's why this is help them that have the providers, nurses, doctor, to reduce burnout, to reduce stress, to have emotional stability and so forth. And they have done all kind of research, and it's helpful for all kind of people, all kind of disability, all kind of illness, and like you just watch the video clips, right? That's a man who has cancer. He did meditation to be useful and beneficial for him too. And here, the doctor, yes, they sit on that bed to do meditation. I don't know whether they show up or not. And they have all kinds of mindfulness programs in the hospital. All right, now here, mindfulness. How many of you are working while you go to school? Wow, many of you. Wow, it's stressful. How many of you are full-time students while you are working full-time? Wow, it's stressful, right? If you don't know how to handle, it's not easy. You may burn yourself. So here, there's many ways for you to handle stress at work, pay attention on movement. Like at this present movement, be aware of your thoughts. Judge things. In the class yesterday, we just talked about what we call the Buddhism. That means you just recognize the sound. Don't attach to the things. Don't take things as personal. Let's say when the professor gave back the test to you, and if you got the bad grade, don't blame on him. That's your test, not because of him. Not because of you too, right? You just try to study harder so that you can get good grades. All right. So if he or she point out your mistake, remember it's not personal. It's your work. All right. So that means don't judge yourself and others. That's why this is so practical. And here, this easy way to be mindful at work. This is charge. I think it's more helpful, especially if you're a full-time student and full-time you working full-time. Start the day with a movement of conscious awareness. Just do such a 5 or 10 minutes, or even a couple minutes. Practice until listening when you deal with co-workers and so forth. Notice your body language, especially during the lunchtime. Eat mindfully. Right? Don't put the food inside your mouth and watch the movie or talk on the phone. Right? You would not feel the taste of the food, and maybe damage to your stomach, maybe hurtful for your stomach, as your digestion and so forth. Stay in the movement. Be present. Be with the present moment. When you pass present moment, you will not get back it. So that is the easy way. And there's another one. Listen intently to other people, especially your boss. Or if you don't listen to their directions or orders, if you make the wrong order, you may be laid off. And even in the classroom, right? You need to listen to the professor, guidelines, and so forth. Otherwise, when you pass deadline, you're done. But in my class, I don't take any point off. Right, so but the other teacher, they really serious about it. So be mindful. Take 2 minutes for every hour. Turn away from computer screen. Breathe deeply. Pay attention on your food. Take time to taste and consider every point and so forth. This is the practice. Now, my work in business. I'm a business major here. Okay, so this will be helpful for you. Right here, we have Apple store, right? Apple company. They have more than 1,000 employees to take the course of mindful practice, and they deploy 30 minutes to meditate. They provide some kind of classes on meditation, yoga, and so forth. And the other companies here, and in the Financial Times, this is on mindfulness bandwagon. Right. And this is why companies are promoting mindfulness at the office. And this, what the others, this is the healthcare company, right? Huge healthcare company. And mindfulness have it's here too. Forget the greed. It's good. Now mindfulness is the mantra. And the mantra is the practice there. Okay. Now, we see this is all kind of information here, all kind of journal is talk about bringing mindfulness into workforce. And now, I know that many, you say that the Apple company, Google, and so forth, they, like you just mentioned, you just saw in the clip, right? They provide incentive for the workers, employees to do some sort of meditation even before they start the work. And here, meditation has become a billion-dollar business. Somehow now they commercialize. Your business. Yeah, and this is top everywhere. And I travel a lot around the country. Most of the time I see especially big city, all kind of yoga studios and meditation center. That is because this is so benefit for them, for people nowadays. Now, mindful practice in education, especially for your college student, right? Time management, I just told you, right? Be mindful with your class schedule, especially with your final. Remember, sometimes you mess up your final schedule, right? Is that right? And if you mess up with your finance schedule, it's not easy to deal with professor to get to pick up. So be mindful, right? Assist with addition, whichever, computer, whichever, mindful eating, and body suppression, especially if you are still young, right? Stress reduction and sleep. Sometimes you study too much and you could not sleep well, right? So mindful practice will help you. Academic performance, if you really recognize, if you really focus your mind on study one thing at a time, and especially when you study in the library and so forth at home, you be more focused, you recognize things easy, enhance your immune system, develop a deep sense of compassion, forgiveness for others, especially with your top professors. Right. All right, here, better exam. You see that? Improve concentration, improve grasping power. They have done this type of research. And for the high school, I just give you information. 25% fewer class absent, 38 fewer suspension a day, and so forth. This is for high school students. It's really cute. When you see the children, they sit in the meditation, right, and right here. It's pretty cute, especially if how you are parents now. You have younger children, yeah, just try to encourage them, not force them, but encourage them to do meditation. We are only 1 minute at a time. Let's just be helpful. When you are with my own experience, because I take care of my disciples, many of them are younger children. Actually, 2 of them back there. They just close the eye, one or a couple of minutes. That's why they calm their mind, right? It's so cute. Right. In the criminal justice, anyone of you go to this field? And for the lawyer, right? It's in the classroom we talk about that too. For the lawyer, you know they count per minute, right? When you hire them, you have to pay for them per minute. So it's stressful for them if they don't get them. If they don't do the job well, no one hire them. And especially when they are in front of the court or the judge, it's really stressful. So that's why they need to be mindful. And in the jail, for the other lawyer, the one who take care of the corruption or the prison is here. There's many inmates they practice mindful practice too. So when they release, they will release from prison. It will be better. They have some kind of improvement in their behavior. All right, mindfulness in politics. So many of you may not be aware of how mindfulness can be practiced in politics, but in England, the Congress they did meditation before they had the meeting, and you recognize him, right? This is Ryan, the congressman from Ohio, and other congressman too, and he wrote a book, A Mindful Nation, very famous. To encourage people in Team Ryan to do meditation. Actually, at the capitals, he run a mindfulness workshop for the congressman and for the officer over there too. And mindfulness in this election, that's the last one last year. All right. And mindfulness in military. Anyone of you served in military before? Anyone of you? Are you going to? All right, here. It's so effective, especially for the soldier when they go to battlefield. If with their mindfulness, they may lose their life, and even when they get back from Iraq or wherever, it's very stressful for them, especially what we call the PTSD problems. See that here? They do this some sort of mindfulness practice or meditation to calm the mind, to have that type of clarity. And mindfulness sport, so most of you play some kind of sport, right? Football, baseball, and so forth, right? And here, you guys recognize him, right? And remember, when you threw the ball to the basket, if you're not mindful, you miss out, right? And when you play football and so forth, you have to be mindful too. And you recognize him, right? And this is many football players. They play that. They practice mindful practice. And famous people who meditate, you may not be surprised, right? You recognize them, right? And you recognize him. And the former president, Bill Clinton, he meditates every day. And you recognize her, right? Oprah, Richard Gere, Angela Jolie, so forth. And there's many famous people doing meditation every day too. Now here, mindfulness practice has been westernized, secularized in the West. Now, since the 60s to 80s, Westerners began to go to South Asia to study about mindfulness practice, especially in 1979. This gentleman, he initiated what we call the mindfulness stress reduction. Anyone of you familiar with that? Except my student, we went over before, right? And now many people go to University of Massachusetts to have that kind of training to get the certificate as the MBS lecturers or guidance and so forth. And from 1980 to 90, it popped up many different types of mindfulness-based stress reduction too. Like mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, and so forth. That's this thing I went over last semester with my student here. There's 1979 mindfulness-based stress reduction, cognitive neuroscience, mindfulness-based cognitive and so forth. This is growing here. This whole type of mindfulness-based therapies, it become a pattern or the tools for psychology to help people nowadays. And here I give you one example. Mindfulness-based stress reduction and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, they work on what we call mindful attitude, non-judgment. Be patient, beginner mind. It's so applicable, especially when you're taking the test, whether multiple choice or written test and so forth. Keep your mind fresh when you walk into the room to take the test. If you worry too much, right? If you worry too much, and if you try to think too much, you may screw up the answer easily. And trust yourself, and try not to accept the result, whatever you have, and let go of the stresses or anything that may affect your mentality. And we have what we call acceptance and commitment therapy, being present most of the time, most of practice, more techniques emphasize on being present, be with the present moment. Value whichever thing you do, value your times here at the university, and make the commitment and accept whichever result that you have. You may have get back from your professor, and they have what we call DBT, dialectic behavior therapists. They have some kind of skill how to handle, how to develop the interpersonal effectiveness, emotion regulation, and so forth. So they provide this kind of tools for people to handle their stress, to handle their anxiety. And mindfulness in daily life, here, washing dishes is a form of mindfulness practice. Taking the trash out, vacuum, folding laundry, grocery shopping, and so forth. Even you by yourself. Any kind of activities can be a form of mindfulness practice. The simple thing is that do one thing at a time. Let's say if you walk from this building to the next, just walk step by step. What happens if you run? You may fall, right? And again, even lift weight too. If especially for gentlemen, if you're mindful with the weight, don't put too much on that weight. And shaving women, driving to the tech, driving to work, driving to the school. Yes, especially in Houston, we have a problem with traffic, right? And that's why every day when they go to the school, they have to go early. But somehow, if you encounter traffic, you accept that. Whether you jump up and down in your car, whether you yell, no one cares. Is that right? So all it is, the things in the case your mind. You accept that and move on. You set up in the class, I told the student too. You have the place. I mean, you have the starting point and you have the ending point. You start at your house. You drive your car from your house to the school, to your workplace and so forth. You know that destination. You know that goal. But while you're driving, be flexible with your driving. When you encounter traffic jams or the stoplight or the light and so forth, just accept that. If you try to honk, if you try to yell and so forth, you burn yourself. Understand that? So accept, move on, and of course, if they block somehow they block your street, try to find a way around. So that's the way you can be mindful. That's the way you can maintain that peacefulness, happiness in your mind, and in the school too. And if you're late, that's okay. Just try to come to the class quietly, right? And if your professor comes late, that's okay too. So important thing is to accept things as the way they are. As you can make peace with life. Otherwise, it's not easy. And here, it is all kind of practice. You can hold those yoga here. Wow, you guys know, right? Yoga is form of mindfulness practice, right? You know about your body sensation, about your posture, about your mood and so forth. When you pay attention on your body and mind, you know more other people. Most of the time, what happens? We like to have a new iPhone and the latest food and so forth, but we don't recognize within ourselves. If you're not content with yourself, if you don't look within, there's no way for you to be satisfied with things. Absolutely. That's why when you have this practice with the mindful seeing, the sky, the cloud, and so forth, you have more peaceful. Especially before taking a test, you can take a walk around the campus. Right? That's the way you relax yourself. Not to be stressful too much, not to focus too much, or not to think too much about what the professor wants to test you or what kind of question that he or she may put on the test. Just take a walk, take a deep breath and so forth. You touch with the table, the books and so forth, and it's mindful eating too. And some of my students, not this semester but last semester, when they went to my temple, we have this kind of body scan. Body scan does mean like when you pass through the security gate at the airport. That's not body scan. You lie down there, you feel the sensation from your head down to your forehead, nose, and so forth. When you understand or recognize that feeling, sensation, you are mindful of your body. And when you're mindful of your body, eventually you'll be mindful of your thoughts. Remember, sometimes, like at the beginning, as you mentioned recently, that when you hear something or we see something, you instantly you want to react. But sometimes it's maybe wrong, especially when you react with your anger. Right, and most of the time it's wrong. So that's why when you take a minute to calm down and so forth, you see things more clear. And this is the mindful listening too. Mindful listening, listen to your professor, listen to your boss, listen to your boyfriends, girlfriends, what problem that they may have. Otherwise, you may break up easily, right? And mindful touch and deep mindfulness and so forth. So these are the daily practice. I want to go back one more thing here. So mindfulness practice involves any activities in our life. It's not that you sit there, it's called mindfulness practice. Yes, when you sit, you may have the comfortable position to look within your breath. But when you're walking, like when you're eating, when you're talking, when you do other people in a mindful way, that is mindful practice there. And it's beneficial. And people can recognize you, especially who are graduate this semester. You, all right, and you have a job yet? Oh, good. All right, many people, especially many senior students, right? They have to take care of, they have to find a job, so they go out here and there to have interviews to get the jobs. What will happen if they're not mindful? Whichever things the interviewers want to ask them. If the interviewers ask one thing and they reply to others, there's no way for them to get that jobs, right? So it's so important in life that we have to be mindful. All right. So again, we have only 10 minutes to open for you to ask a question about that. So and we have all kind of material clips as well as quiz too. Right. So I like to keep this 10 minutes for you to ask a question. It's understandable, right? How about this? Before we I come to you to ask a question. Let us practice only 1 minute together. All right. So now this 1 minute, with this 1 minute, I will set up my timers. Actually, for me, for the beginners, 1 minute is time is more than enough. Right. Of course, at home you can sit for 15, 20, 30, 1 hour, so forth. But start with 1 minute at a time. So this 1 minute, let me set my timers. Here, you just follow your breath. You just recognize whichever thing happening in your body and in your mind, right? You don't drop down everything. You can close your eyes and you can lean back to the chair, relax yourself in a comfortable position. So again, let me press to start with this 1 minute. Okay, and I will give you the guideline with this 1 minute first, and later on I will give you 1 minute silent. Okay, let me start for 1 minute. If I forgot my bell, so I hit the table. Okay. Okay, go. Okay, now close your eyes and relax yourself. You can lean back to the chair and be mindful with your breath. It comes in and out of your body. Be mindful with your sensation, with your body sensation. Any itching, any painful place in the body, recognize. Be mindful with your breath. When you inhale, you recognize the cold air coming to your body through the nose. When you exhale, you feel. Start this. Okay. Let me. Okay. So 1 more minute. Okay. 1 more minute. Okay. Now again, before the practice, I will guide you. Okay. Now you can close your eyes, or even open the eyes up to you. But try to relax your body. And relax your mind. Let go of everything. Whichever things concern in your mind, whether the past, whether it's your jobs, whether some problems at home and so forth, just tell yourself, let go. I want to enjoy this present moment. This present moment. If they let go, I will not get it back. So relax yourself. Let go of everything. Let go of your anxiety. Let go of your stress. Let go of your worriness. Let go of everything that disturbs your mind. And recognize the breath, the cold air coming to the body, and the warm air come out of the body. Alright, so I will press 1 minute and we do in silence. So please relax yourself and just be mindful with your breath and the sensation around your body. Okay, you can start now. Okay, so we don't have much time. This is just a short practice, and if you practice meditation for a while, get quite I still have 5 more minutes. Do I have any question? Yes?
After a lifetime of slouching, that seems like that's my natural or my relaxed state, but when we meditate, shouldn't we be sitting up straight?
Again, yes, sitting posture position is more stable. Yeah, you can lie down, but of course, most time for sitting.
When I sit and try to meditate, and if I'm sitting up straight, I just feel like I'm not relaxed. I mean, if I kind of relax my slouching.
Yeah, let's say, especially in the school, let's say you have to go here and there to many classes. So take some few minutes, let's say before, or even when you get go to the class, just sit there, wait for, when you're waiting for professor, just sit there for a couple of minutes and close your eyes to follow your breath. That's all. That's a form of mindfulness. But at home, if you want to do, let's say 15, 20 and so forth, yes, it's better. Just keep your head and back straight, that's all. And relax your muscle. Don't be so straight. Don't be just so stiffen. Just relax your muscle. But this is like the sprint where you just hold it up. Just hold your neck and your back straight. That's enough. Yes?
With that, do you think that yoga would be a good way to help kind of feel more comfortable?
Yeah, especially you can practice some kind of yoga here. Some type of physical exercise first. Before you sit down, you feel more comfortable with your body and your breath. This is there's all kinds of techniques when you do breath meditation. And if you recognize as that's your medicine, you don't need to buy it. This is there. It's for everyone. You don't need to pay any pennies. Yes.
I have a question. So I actually have medicine for anxiety. I go through pretty frequent. So this, I had a question with the mantra. I usually take time and just kind of reflect and pray, and that's how I implement it to myself. Would that also be a form of?
Actually, for me too. Almost every day, I decide Buddhist mantra before or after meditation. This is when you decide in Buddhist view. When we decide the mantra, we invoke the blessing from Buddha and Bodhisattva. It's like when you say Jesus Christ, so when you invoke that kind of blessing. And this is what we get this support spiritually from our Buddha, Bodhisattva, and God, and so forth. In the meantime, we do meditation too. We need to have combination. You help yourself, and of course, you invoke the help of others. It's like you study by yourself most of the time. But you need to come to the school to learn from professors. Yes?
Mindfulness has become very popular, as you indicated. Many people forget that it's rooted in Buddhism. My question is the two main traditions of Buddhism, which is Theravada and what was the other one? Mahayana. There you go. Is this mindfulness equally described in both traditions, or are there differences? And the second question is Asian religions, and you teach courses here on Asian religions. Is mindfulness or meditation a common topic in all of them or some of them? How is it actually in, for instance, Hinduism? Are there differences between Hinduism or Hindu meditation practices and Buddhist meditation practices?
This is still a good question, but this is the long one too. So basically, in whether it's Mahayana or the Ragas, we do the same. Same breath meditation is the basic. And of course, in Mahayana, we have some kind of visualization. In our Buddhist class, we talk about that. And mantra recitation, that is the additional practice for Mahayana tradition. But we basically do the same things. And regarding, let's say, about Hindu meditation, we can say that in the techniques is similar, but in philosophy and principle is quite different. Yeah, quite different in the sense that we emphasize on what we call non-judgmental and acceptance, whichever thing happening. So this is deep now. This kind of differences is because of the philosophy and principle that we go different ways. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any question?
So, going back to the anxiety medication specifically, different medications do different things, but generally some of them will block adrenaline, some of them will just add some kind of relaxant. And for lack of a better phrase, if you were to take an anxiety medication right before you started the meditation in Buddhism, would that be considered, again, for lack of a better word, cheating?
No, you can just remember, you need to know yourself, whether you need to take more medicine, or you need to take medicine before meditation, or do meditation before you take the medicine. It's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's your personal choices.
Okay. So it's the end result of it is more important than the actual.
There's many ways how to approach. It's up to you. You see whether you calm down your mind or not. Especially if you have that much anxiety, it's better for you to do what you call body scan at home. When you lie down there, relax yourself. And have taught many of my students that even when you take a shower, when the water you put on your top, on your head, you imagine whichever thing happen, whichever that you are concerned here in your mind, let them go, like when the water flowing down from the top of your head to the floor, and you more relaxed. After taking a shower, you more refreshed, except there's many ways. Any question before we end?
About the shower thing, I like to stand in their cold water sometimes. I'll turn it on like the coldest setting possible and just like relaxing.
Be careful.
Well, much theory with lots of practical ramifications. Reverend Dad is teaching a course on meditation and mindfulness in the religious studies program. If that became a teaser, you can enroll in this class. Thanks again a lot for this very hands-on lecture. Thanks everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.